okay, that might be and it definitely usually cannot come from fail.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, the deadline to pass or fail is passed, right?
yeah.
It's over. Sad stuff.
All right, everyone, let's get to it. How are you feeling? Feeling okay? How many of you are tired? So I was thinking to myself, like, it's Monday. Wow, how am I already exhausted? All right. Now, you've got a good excuse. Okay. You just turned in a pretty big assignment, right? P2 Gold, it is finished. How did it go? Yeah, went all right. How did it compare to the first project, P1?
It's pretty heavy code.
Oh, yeah. Much heavier on the code. The logic is a little bit more interesting. How you manage your data is a little bit more interesting. Yeah, I think historically people consider the second project to be a little bit harder. If you like, building an app that you can take around with you, that you can show to people, then there's a good chance you prefer P2 to P1. But that's neither here nor there, because you now have the ability to work on a project of your choosing, okay? Beginning on Wednesday, we'll be launching your P3 milestone, okay? P3 will begin on Wednesday, and a lot of students seem to enjoy that assignment. It is not a super heavy assignment, but that depends on what kind of project you choose to do. Your team formation is going to be due on Wednesday. That is 2 days, okay? Not a ton of time. Hopefully, if you want a team, you've been kind of thinking about who you might want to work with, talking with people. If you've got that team ready to go, I encourage you to go into that People tab on Canvas and hop into a Project 3 group. If you don't do that, on Wednesday, probably Wednesday evening, you're going to get a random team, okay? So don't worry too much if you don't get that. I regret the fast turnaround that we have to do. The schedule is just kind of funky this semester. For P1 postmortem, I think you had an entire week to do that essay. P2 postmortem, not so much. You're going to have about half that amount of time, actually a little bit less. P2 postmortem is going to be due on Wednesday. The good news is that is a super easily graded assignment, and we really just want you to dump your brain out, dump your thoughts out, your emotions as they come to you. So hopefully, just answering the questions promptly, briefly, will not take you more than 45 minutes to an hour, okay? Find a spare hour in the next couple days, and you'll knock that one out. You get some easy, cheap points, okay? Culture 4 has been announced, and it's released, and we're going to watch that film probably on Wednesday, okay? I'll let you know if that's not the case. It will probably be in Dow 1017, like it often is. Anyone know what film it is? Now, I gave a pretty big hint. This is going to be a much shorter film. We're going to be launching the film at 8 o'clock, so we'll get you out a bit early. It is going to be Black Mirror, okay? Has anyone heard of that? Okay, Black Mirror, but which one? It is going to be San Junipero. It turns out that Black Mirror has actually a number of virtual reality and game dev related episodes. And this, I think, is one of the more interesting ones. It is a kind of a difficult film to watch, not only for its subject matter, but also because it's kind of a very nuanced film, right? In order to really kind of understand what's going on, it really kind of clicks the second time you watch it. So this is a viewing session that I highly encourage you to attend. We will do a discussion beforehand, which will help you out. We will do a discussion afterward, which will really help explain what's going on. I think help you appreciate the film a lot more. Definitely one of my favorites. This is also the most different film we're going to watch, okay? It is not your typical Hollywood blockbuster. I hope you enjoy the unique experience. It's a good film. All right, so you've got P2 postmortem, okay? You've got your formation for Project 3, and on Wednesday, you're going to be watching that Black Mirror San Junipero, okay? And I encourage you, don't look anything up about that episode, right? Go into it blind. I think you'll enjoy it a lot more if you do. All right. So speaking of being tired, I love to show you things while I'm working on them. I'm working on a new course. You all know that. And this is one of the things I was working on last night. It's keeping me up all night. This is a web page that doesn't look like a whole lot. But if you look closely, you'll see we've got a bunch of dates. Okay, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. basically, this is a calendar, or it will turn into a calendar as you add more and more models. For this new course design, you're going to learn 3D modeling, and I mean really learn it, by doing one model per day. It's the daily 20-minute model. And if that sounds intense, right, and I can see all the nervous smiles back there, if that sounds intense, know that you can skip around 20 days, okay? You can choose when you want them to be, but you don't need to do a model every day, all right? Anyway, what's really interesting is that when you finish a 20-minute model, and you're only supposed to use 20 minutes, right? No less, but also no more. You upload your model to Sketchfab, which is just a fantastic website. You've probably already used it for your P1, your P2. This is a little key I made in about 10 minutes. This is about a 10-minute model. It was really fun to make. You upload it to Sketchfab. You submit the link to the model via a Google form. Now, every night after midnight, I'm going to have an AWS Lambda function in the cloud run, and it's going to auto-generate this website for every student. Email it to the student. So every night, you're going to get a new version of this web page that has more models on it. And you can kind of, hopefully, by the end, you'll be able to see this wonderful gradient of your abilities improving, right? You can even see here when I learned how to make my material shiny, right? And suddenly I'm using it on the key right here, right? I'm using it on the weird little trophy. This is supposed to be a trophy. The theme is trophy. What could this trophy be for? Anyone have any ideas? What competition you'd win this trophy in? It's like the stair climber trophy, maybe. Okay, it's not that great, all right? Hey, keep in mind, I'm an engineer, 90%, all right? So that's my excuse. Anyway, right? And the idea is you're working in Blender, you're building models pretty much every day, not for a ton of time, but you're building up that muscle memory, you're learning the hotkeys, you're learning those weird UI quirks that Blender's just full of. And by the end, hopefully you have a lot of confidence and a good portfolio site that has already been made for you, okay? Anyway, so kind of an interesting thing. If you've got any ideas, let me know. You get the big red X if you skip a day. So you see this too many times and your grade might start to suffer. This is actually a GIF, which makes it a little bit more efficient than all these interactive 3D widgets I've got going on here. Anyway, final thing I'll say is that another feature I want is that every day we will all have the same theme. So however many people are in the course, we'll get that many models on the same theme. I really want the ability to click on the theme and be able to see all the models of all the keys that everyone in the course made. I'm sure we'll get some really great ones, and maybe we'll get some ones that are a little bit rushed, right? In fact, actually, I'll show you in the Discord. We had a member of the community do one after I posted mine, and it looked different. It looked actually, I thought it was pretty cool. Let's go share my work. Here you go. So I posted my key, and Will Farah created this key. And yeah, it doesn't have materials, okay, but it has a very different design. And this kind of looks like it has kind of a shotgun style barrel on it. This reminds me like you're turning a key to open a door, there's a monster behind it, and you just got your key right there, you're just good, right? And so, anyway, kind of interesting stuff. Interesting what people come up with. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to it. All right, we're beginning your project 3 on Wednesday. So our main mission today is to kind of introduce that project and help you understand what that project is. I want to show you a really cool company first. This is a company called Haptics. We've talked a lot about the software side of things when it comes to VR and AR. Now I want to talk about the hardware, okay? This is a company that is basically building advanced interfaces for VR and AR software. And by that, I mean gloves, right? The G1 gloves, these try and help you feel things that you touch in VR. So in VR, if you go and you put your hand through a wall, right, your hand's just going to go through the wall. You won't feel it. Your brain, via your vision sense, will tell you that you've kind of hit a wall. but you won't feel that sensation in your fingers, okay? These do allow you to do that. Let's see if we can watch the video here.
The ultimate work tool is the human hand. 5 dexterous fingers, skin tough enough to work all day, and nerves so sensitive they can detect the finest detail. Our hands are the foundation of today's workforce and the inspiration for tomorrow's. Now, for the first time, there's a training tool that can match the dexterity and sensitivity of your hands. Haptex Gloves G1. The haptic gloves with the most realistic touch. G1 is lined with hundreds of air-powered actuators that bring realism to a new level. With powerful force feedback and precise motion tracking for enterprise-grade dexterity. G1 is uniquely designed for workforce training. It works in virtual reality, helping you build real muscle memory. It works with robotics, extending your reach with precise haptic calibration. And it lets you train robot AI systems faster and more successfully, with the highest fidelity hand tracking and haptic data. We designed G1 from the bottom up to support the most demanding work. Industrial, medical, defense, and beyond. Order Haptex Gloves G1 now and get the best out of your most important tool, your hands.
Okay, right, there you go. So these gloves aren't capable of fully stopping your fingers. For instance, if you're grabbing a brick, right, it can't prevent you from bringing your fingers down through thin air, but it will give you the very start of that sensation of there is something here, and I probably shouldn't continue to squeeze anymore. And so, pretty cool stuff. One thing they didn't focus on a whole lot in that video, they didn't really emphasize the big backpack that you have to wear. So these gloves are very kind of big. To me, they actually look a little bit imprecise and a bit clumsy. This backpack on the back, as far as I understand, it makes a lot of noise. It's also kind of heavy. It is supplying the air, pushing the air through your kind of costume, really, through your gloves at the right time, and also kind of generating more, right? So that it can do that. Not generating more air, but pulling more in so that it can then be piped to where it needs to be. And so it feels a little bit clumsy. However, one of the big use cases for this hardware, right? What did they say? Training, okay? Workforce training, right? Safety, medicine. These are kind of reoccurring things in XR. As XR loses a lot of its kind of hype to AI, generative AI, right? What is going to sustain it? What is going to prevent XR from going the way of 3D TV? We're seeing it's probably going to be those medical applications. It's going to be some of those more niche kind of training and education based roles. And here we are seeing another example of that. I will say, if you imagine to yourself that, you know what, training is not that big a deal. Is it that important that you can immerse yourself and that you can really have full finger control? I will tell you, well, I'm not going to give it away. I will tell you I'm currently getting a license right now as I'm teaching. If I seem kind of distracted during lecture sometimes, that's why. I'm getting a license right now that involves going extremely, extremely fast, and it is very dangerous. And I will tell you the muscle memory in whatever vehicle, or aircraft that you tend to be in, you really need to make sure that you do not move inappropriately, that you do not accidentally grab the wrong thing, the wrong lever. If you pull the wrong thing, your engine is gone, and that's really bad news, okay? You pull the thing right next to it, and that's how you get your thrust. And so building up that muscle memory, you can't really do that via like a 2D simulator in whatever race car you might be in. You really benefit from this kind of thing, okay? Putting on a VR headset and getting that authentic experience. So, and people pay a pretty penny for that kind of stuff, okay? If this seems like it might be low volume, it probably is. But if it really makes the difference, if it accelerates your training, if it makes you safer, might be worth it, okay? Anyway, how much does this cost? Do we have any idea? So these websites, one thing that's tough about this course is that these companies change their websites every year or so. Okay, how much are the gloves? Okay, how much are the gloves? Can we find those? Find any price? If you can't find a price, you're in a, yeah, I don't think that's what they wanted. Flexible configuration, they meant to say. If you can't find a price, you know what that means. Oh, they do have an SDK for Unreal Engine, okay? This is the Unreal 4 UI. But if you want to add support into your app or product, you can do that. How much does it cost? Talk to us, huh? Okay, they would rather not tell you how much this costs. I recall it, I think they, in the past, listed some prices, and I think they were talking at least $2,000 or $3,000. And I think there might have even been a subscription fee on there too, which kind of stinks. But don't quote me on that, and they may have changed it. They might have changed it. Usually, when someone goes to hey, contact us before we let you know the price, that usually means they're a little bit lower volume, and they really want to be able to kind of customize how much you're going to pay and what support they're going to offer to you. So if you are the University of Michigan, they'll be very excited, big organization. They might charge a lot, but hopefully they'll give you a lot of additional support. If you're a small company, maybe they don't respond to your email. Okay, they don't really care. And if you're just a hobbyist, this pretty much probably isn't for you. Okay, otherwise there'd be prices out here. There'd be an order now button, and they'd have it shipped in a few days. Anyway, kind of an interesting device, right? And when you ask yourself, how do you evaluate something like this, right? What is the social impact of a device like this? Well, that kind of depends on what comes after the device, right? What do people use it for? And so it's kind of hard for companies like this to be evaluated on their impact. Anyway, very cool stuff. A cool company. They've raised quite a bit of money, as you might be able to tell, based on a high-quality website and trailer. High quality for the most part. They are based in Seattle, which is not nearly as pricey as San Francisco, but is still a fairly expensive place to be. But they have a lot of talent up there. Facebook, they've got Amazon, they've got Microsoft right there, they've got Nintendo right there. Pretty cool stuff. And one of the world's best indie game development scenes as well. Seattle may very well be the capital of indie game dev. Anyway, all right, so P3 team registration is due on Monday. Due on Wednesday. Yeah, please do not forget. I'll try and send a reminder if I can. It's very hard to change teams and swap things around, and we don't really want you doing that midway through a project. You gotta make your current team work if you can. Okay. When you build something, it's extremely important that you get it out in front of other people. Pretty soon, actually, during your P3, you're going to start doing these kind of playtests. You are going to start meeting up with other teams, and you'll be giving feedback on their product, and they'll be giving feedback on yours, okay? You want to know if your software is usable, easy to understand, if its purpose is clear, then that's going to help. So playtesting is a really big deal, and this is something that I do quite often as well. So this is actually a Youmacon exhibition in downtown Detroit. This is the booth I set up for my indie horror game, kind of cool. And we have a bunch of stations set up so you can get more throughput. We have other friends around us as well. Peter Lance right over there, fantastic Grand Rapids-based developer. Professor Fang, Natalie Fang, has her own Nochi, kind of anime game studio. One of my students right there as well, helping her out. So very, very cool events like this. If you have something you want to demo, then you can set up stalls like this. I think Wolverine Soft has a stall. Can we find them? Did I take a photo? They were definitely here. Okay. Oh, did I pass it? Here it is. Yep. So Wolverine Soft got stuck in the corner, which was not super great for them. They didn't get a ton of traffic. Oh, there's Leah, one of my friends. Who's that guy right there?
That one we had that's actually directly across from you.
Yeah, you moved. I think you moved because I told you you should.
Yeah, like nobody else was.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not getting a whole lot of traffic, but fortunately the people here did not show, so they grabbed a better spot. Anyway, you learn a ton when you put your product in front of other people and just let them go, okay? You learn an absolutely massive amount, and that informs your iteration as you improve your product week after week after week. It's sometimes very frustrating because people will play your game or interact with your product and they won't get it. They'll be confused, right? They won't like it. They'll think it's ugly. They'll think it's too hard. They'll think it's then too easy. And that's just how it goes. You develop a very thick skin when you do that kind of stuff, okay? All right, big money. So Bohemia Interactive. This is a cool headline. It's not super new, but a defense contractor, Bay Systems, purchased a video game studio that did a lot of kind of simulation work, tank stuff, called Bohemia Interactive for $200 million. This is all to say that there are some very surprising entities interested in the world of kind of interactive software, okay? Maybe you make a really cool P3 project, and, maybe down the line someone is interested in that, okay? You keep the team together. Maybe someone wants to buy you out. We actually, Face AR, if you recall, the facial recognition game where you kind of rehabilitate your facial movements, right, by playing mini games with your eyebrows and your lips, right? They got a grant from Snapchat. So Snapchat wanted them to take their app, bring it to their Lens Studio platform, and they got a big grant from it. So this kind of stuff isn't unheard of. Anyway, kind of a cool article. Check it out if you're interested. All right. P2 Gold is due. P2 Postmortem is out. Culture 4 is out. Let's go ahead and introduce this Project 3, okay? So Project 3 is the big one, okay? It is your last major project in this course, your last major assignment in this course, really. And you now, after a lengthy semester of learning multiple game engines, of learning VR and AR, you now finally have the chance to build whatever you want, okay? And you get a lot of creative freedom on this project, okay? As long as you fulfill certain criteria, you will be fine. This is our end of semester showcase, right? Quite a few people usually come in to check out your projects, to engage with them. We get developers from local game studios coming in. It's a lot of fun, okay? It usually, let's see here. I think maybe my clicker's broken. This is usually what it looks like. It can get very crowded. And as you saw here, right, my assistant actually gets hit on the shoulder by someone who is playing the game too immersed and not realizing he's about to hit someone. We got to be a little bit careful, okay? It gets very crowded. Got to keep people kind of caged off so they don't hurt anyone. But it's usually a great time, okay? I'm usually at the front of the room. I introduce your projects. I show off all your trailers and your websites. And then everyone walks around and has a great time interacting with your AR and VR apps, okay? It is really, really fun, right? The best part of development is watching other people be impacted by your work, and usually in very emotional ways. It's a great time, okay? Right? It can be a very active time, okay? And it can get quite crowded, okay? Here is the schedule, okay? We have today, right, a week from now, a week after, and then we have a bit of a break here. This is going to be Thanksgiving break, and then we'll finish up with the showcase, I believe, on a Friday this semester, okay? You can break this project up in the same way as other projects, into engineering, design, and production/business stuff. Beginning on Wednesday, you're going to have 1 week, and you're going to be focused on P3 milestone, Okay? Which tasks do you have to complete for P3 milestone? Anyone know?
Yeah.
Okay, postmortem, project management is a good idea. You should finish your P2 postmortem as well. But do you know what the kind of tasks you deal with on a P3 milestone?
I assume it's just ideation.
Yeah, whatever tasks you want. Okay? Now, I'll tell you, every week you're going to be graded on some very familiar criteria, right? So social impact, financial sustainability, XR emphasis, okay? But I will tell you the grading, unless you're falling behind, is usually not super strict here, okay? This is not EECS 494. You've got a ton of freedom here. So you'll do P3 milestone, you will submit a video, and you'll also submit a website for your startup, okay, for your product. All of these different companies we've been showing you them so we can show you kind of what a XR company, what an XR application does to sell itself. So you will, for instance, be using probably tools like Weebly. You'll be using tools like, we don't have the assignment spec out, but I think I'll show it to you anyway. You'll be using tools like Weebly, Wix, those kind of website creators, Squarespace, in order to create a website that will evolve over time. Okay. Actually, I think I can show you a much better example here. Let's take a look. If we go to the very end, yeah, here we go. So last semester we had a phenomenal project called National Parks 101. So for people who have not been to America's national parks, how do you enjoy that experience? What things should you keep in mind? How do you what kind of rules do you need to know about, right? Not littering, stuff like that. Don't pet the bears, right? This is the website, National Parks 101, right? We've got a headline telling you, hey, immersive VR experience, teach anyone how to be safe in these parks, right? You can go down, you've got media, you can watch a nice trailer, right? You've got a list of features, pricing, right? Let's see here.
Nature. What a lovely day to be out and about. This is exactly what I love about national parks. Immerse in nature, away from civilization. Ooh, a moose! Hey, take my picture next to this moose. Ah! Welcome to National Parks 101, where you can learn all about the do's and lots of don'ts of our lovely national parks. Observe nature from a distance, of course. Practice preparing for longer hikes before exploring the beautiful landscape. Even try out real hikes at different national parks. Learn to be a responsible tourist and help preserve our precious national parks. In National Parks 101, only you can save our parks.
All right. So a very, very cool project. There are a lot of subtleties and nuances in here. You can kind of see them. The footage isn't great. It's only 1 week to get these trailers done. But this game had many aspects of resource management to it. So you need to make sure that you've got food and water and you're not running low. You need to be watching the clock so that you're not out too late. You get in trouble or you get attacked. If a certain type of animal attacks you, right, you don't deal with bears the same way that you deal with a moose. Or even within the bears, there are some bears that you need to make a lot of noise, but there are other bears that will see that as a threat and attack you if you do that. So pretty interesting project, educational and also very entertaining, a good trailer as well, and a pretty good website. One last thing I want to show you. Every week you'll be doing a dev blog and you'll be posting a video to show what did you create that week. But you'll also be doing, you don't need to do this much. You'll be writing a little bit to tell us about what changed, what features you've added, why, and what you're going to do for the next week, okay? So you've got kind of an encyclopedia here. You've got the ability to fill your water bottle and drink from it if your thirst gets too low. You've got more trails here this week, a little bit of a graphical issue there. You've got Bear Spray that's now working, okay? Pretty cool inventory system. Anyway, so that kind of stuff, okay? We'll take a look at more of those projects in just a bit. So, P3 milestone, right? You're going to ideate this week. You're going to put together a tiny prototype and then put together that dev blog on a website for us. Then you're going to have another week of that and another, okay? P3 alpha, what does that mean? P3 alpha is typically the phase where you want to have most of your content in, okay? Most of your features are in. They might be buggy, okay? They might not be very polished, but they're in. And then you're going to spend your final week, okay, polishing everything up and getting things working, get the trailer finished, get the website looking great, and then the showcase, and you're out of here, okay? You'll have 1 week for Thanksgiving break. You don't need to do anything that week, okay? No worries. But, yeah, hopefully it'll be a good time for you. Now, during this, all right, after the first week, you kind of hopefully have a good idea of what your project is going to be. You need to reach out to a stakeholder. You need to do an assignment called P3 Research. So P3 Research is going to involve you going out and finding other pieces of software, other products that do kind of a similar task to yours. Basically, who's your competition? Okay? Or if you don't want to think of it in terms of competition, what have people done in this space already, and how can we stand on their shoulders to do something just a little bit more new and interesting? Okay? You're also going to reach out to a stakeholder. You must have one interview with some outside person or authority on your topic. So if you are making a project like Face AR, it's all about medical rehabilitation. It's about getting your facial muscles working again after an accident or after a stroke. The stakeholder should probably be someone in the medical field, right, who has expertise on the subject and who can point out the mistakes you're making and recommend changes, okay? That's the whole point of getting feedback in the first place, so you can get an idea of where you are and where you want to go and how to get there, okay? In the final week after we get back from Thanksgiving break, we're going to have P3 marketing. What does that mean? That means getting in here, recording footage, okay, showing off your features, and voiceover to explain it all, okay? This is what we're going to show at the showcase, and then everyone's going to be happy and they're going to clap for you, okay? Should be a good time. During the whole thing, you'll be doing, again, another P3 kind of project management style assignment. So you're going to be using Jira, hopefully now with 5 people on your team instead of 2. Its value will kind of be a lot more clear, okay? 2-person project, yeah, you can manage that in a ton of different ways. But as your team size scales, you really kind of want some deluxe tools like this. Okay? It will help you out, hopefully, a lot. Okay. Some miscellaneous info. This is teams of 4 to 5, okay? If you do not have a team of 4 to 5, right, but you have just 1 or 2 or 3 people you want to keep together, still jump into a team. However, you might have people merged onto your team, and you'll have to meet them later, okay? Another thing, you might gain team members. Unless you have 5 people, there's a chance you might gain team members. Sometimes we have to do that if we have a strange number of students in the course, an odd number of students, and we just have to place them onto some team. So know that that could happen as well, okay? So you can choose now AR or VR, and you can choose the engine you use as well. On a rare occasion, we'll have a team that really wants to do VR, but they also really want to use Unity. Okay, very common for the 494 students to do that kind of thing, or at least entertain the idea. But you can do whatever you want, okay? If you choose VR plus Unity, we probably won't be able to support and help you as much as we normally can. But even worse, actually, if you choose Unreal and AR, we've never had an Unreal team do AR. There is a template project for it, if you look closely, in that Unreal launcher. But in like 10 plus hours of trying to get it to build for my mobile device, no way. It was awful. In fact, I remember failing for about 10 hours. The next day, I went and actually had dinner with some Epic Games engineers, and they didn't know that their AR template was wholesale broken. It makes me think that they don't care about it very much. That's what that says. Anyway, you're going to have intermediate deliverables every week, okay? No surprise, all right? These are going to come in the form of not just videos showing what you worked on, but also you're going to update that website, okay? The website for your startup, for your app, okay? That's where you're going to put your devlogs. That's where you're going to put your video of the week and kind of explain what you did. You'll receive grading and a feedback video from us giving you feedback a couple days later, okay? And this is going to be both Patrick and myself giving you feedback via that video. So look forward to that, okay? For website production, you can do this however you want. A quick way to do it, though, is to use a service called Squarespace or Weebly or Wix. I think they have free tiers, so you shouldn't have to pay anything to make a pretty decent website. At the very end of this course, you'll have that final gold deliverable. And that deliverable is going to include a lot of stuff, okay? It's going to include your source code for your project, portfolio sites, your product website, a trailer on that website, and then you have to go to the showcase event, okay? So no surprises there. I want to show you, does anyone have any questions first? Okay. I want to show you a few more projects from last semester that I thought were really great. So this one was really exceptional, Spiro VR. I believe there's a device called is it a spirometer that allows you to kind of test your lungs' ability to inhale and exhale. And this is a piece of software where the team actually built hardware. They built their own hardware, and it's a mini game suite that exercises your lungs' ability to right? And sometimes you're really kind of huffing it out, for instance, to shoot spells. And other times you are doing kind of different things with your breathing pattern. Anyway, Spiro VR, a VR-based breathing test suite. One of the team members had to do this kind of stuff, right, via her medical situation. And so this was very personal to her, and they did a great job. No surprise. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer.
Spiro VR is an app aimed at helping patients with cystic fibrosis and other lung conditions clear their airways. To maintain their health, patients need to set aside time every day for lung exercises, but up to 7% of these patients are not consistent with their prescribed regimen. Spiro VR takes advantage of virtual reality technology to bring a new dimension to airway clearance, taking the dread out of daily breathing exercises.
I think there's something to be said that maybe you could do a lot of this with 2D, a traditional 2D game, but you couldn't do any of this without this excellent hardware device. So very cheaply made, but very, cheap is the wrong word, cost-effectively made, right? It was a bit of pipe connected to, I believe, an Arduino, capable of kind of measuring, okay, how much are you breathing in, how much are you expelling out, and then mini games were created to kind of try and get you measuring yourself on how well you're able to do that, and how consistently and with what pattern. Now, one thing to be said about this VR is that it does allow you to aim with your neck, okay? Your neck is now a control device, an input device, so you don't have to be using both hands for a controller. You can actually use those hands instead to hold the device, which is really important, okay? So in that sense, the VR actually is very important. But that was a very, very personal project, and no surprise, they did an amazing job. They had like 3 different mini games, which is way more than I thought. That's like 1 mini game a week. That's crazy, okay? They have information about how much this stuff costs. So they've got a headset bundle, $199. You can buy the sensor itself. They even have a really cute little design for it for $49 and subscription to keep getting more content, okay? Now, obviously, they're not going to do this necessarily unless the team wants to after they graduate. But we still require you to think about and advertise How will you keep the lights on as a company, as a team? Okay, you do need to not just make something cool. You have to come up with a good business model to make sure that thing is going to stay around for a long time. Okay, sometimes, hey, we're going to sell a subscription. Hey, we're going to sell a device, right? Just premium product purchase. Sometimes you don't want to go the commercial route. It just doesn't make much sense, right? In that case, you can go find foundations. I want you to go find some sort of foundation or grant that will support your company, something that is out there and designed for the kind of impact that you want to have, okay? For instance, if you have an open source project these days, I think they're like the Linux Foundation or Apache Foundation might fund you if your project is deemed to be really important. Anyway, so something to think about. Inferno VR, and we'll get to an AR one, I promise. We'll get to an AR one very soon. Inferno VR, right? Big logo. Are you prepared? And you get a sense that it's a fire-related product, okay? Millions of dollars in fire damage done to structures every year. Thousands of lives lost. Train with Inferno VR to prevent harm during fires. Let's take a look.
You were caught in a sudden fire. Would you know what to do? Learn the right way to fight back with the power of VR. In an experience guided by firefighting experts.
The direct immersion answer here with DP Lecture. Start letting people know fire. Yell it loudly, activate fire alarm. If you are trained or comfortable with a fire extinguisher, use it by all means. Now, when you are at safety, that's when you call 911.
Get Inferno today.
I have to say it. I love how they just listened to their stakeholder and then just did exactly what he said, basically. Right. Like you're designing our whole project for us. I'll also say, though, I couldn't tell what he was saying during parts of this. So, yeah, audio clarity. Clarity is really important over style, okay? This was a really, really cool application, right? The trailer is really fun and exciting, a little bit messy. The experience itself was great. You get a little bit of information about kind of what order you should do things and where you should go. And then you're actually drilled on that. You are graded on how fast. There's even a high score table, right? How fast can you react to the fire, right? Fire alarm on, right? Yelling fire, getting the extinguisher, knocking it out, beelining it for the phone, call the cops, boom. You do all that quickly. In like 30 seconds, you're getting a really good score, okay? Very, very fun stuff, and you wanted to play multiple times, and by doing so, the order kind of gets locked into your brain, which is what you want if an actual fire breaks out, yeah? So not too bad. Very fun experience, right? You can make a game, but it just needs to have some sort of non-recreational value as well, okay? And they've got their devlogs, just like every other website, right? Week 1, week 2, week 3, okay? Video footage, commentary on what changed, good stuff. Okay, we got an AR project. Let's take a look. This is Renov AR, Renovation AR. Very sleek website. Experience your dream renovation with AR to build your best home ever, okay? Let's take a look.
Tired of struggling to visualize your dream home renovation with existing AR apps? They just don't understand your room's layout, leading to a broken, unrealistic experience. But with Renova's precise room scanning technology, all the walls and existing furniture are captured with precision. Imagine trying out different flooring, or finding the perfect angle for your favorite chair with a few clicks. With Renovar, you can even clear out your old furniture and experiment with endless new pieces and layout until everything is just right. Mount that new TV on the wall
and try out a fresh coat of paint. Or install your favorite ceiling fan. The possibilities are endless.
So what are you waiting for? Experience your space in a completely new way and turn your dream home into reality with Roomba.
So this team didn't use mobile AR. They did use Unity, right? But they actually used and built a AR app with the, I believe, MetaQuest Pros, okay? Using those cameras on the exterior of the device, right? Their color now, not the sharpest in the world, but not too bad. A very, very impressive result. One of the more technologically impressive apps I've seen in this course, right? You've got the real world right out there. You've got a real couch. And did you see, like you can delete your actual real life stuff, right? Deleting my shelf, deleting my TV stand. That's pretty amazing, okay? All right, so very cool stuff, and they did exactly what the other teams did. They've got their excellent devlogs, so you can kind of see their progress week after week. And I think they have some financial information in here as well. Hopefully. Yeah. Okay. And the final one I'm going to show you is Dino Snap. This is a fun one. Basically, we talked about, hey, field trips, right, to Mount Everest or the Titanic. You saw those as commercial real deal apps. In this experience, you go back in time, and your mission, has anyone played Pokemon Snap? Okay, or heard of it, right? This is a game in which you document dinosaurs. You go back in time, you document dinosaurs by snapping photos of them, you unlock information about them, you feed the dinosaurs, you try and feed them whatever they would have eaten, and eventually you gain the ability to ride a T-Rex, I believe, if you do it all. Let's take a look. Dino Snap.
An unknown world. One mission. To take pictures of dinosaurs. Go back in time to various eras. Use your camera and record evidence of the dinosaurs. Complete several tasks while on your mission. And best of all, you can feed and ride on the dinosaurs. Experience an immersive and educational VR game while playing Dino Snap. Pre-orders now available on Steam for $5.
Okay, so really, really cool app. The team put a lot of effort into the aesthetics of this one. And you can dump a massive amount of time into just making your software look better and better and better. But it's also a very interactive app as well, with some subtle mechanics that not everyone found, right? Like riding the dinosaurs. So pretty cool stuff, right? You can imagine a young kid getting really interested in the topic by engaging with something like this. So very, very cool. You've got your devlogs here. You got your team right there. And yeah, and they even have some financial information on how much it costs as well. They're going for like a premium $5 Steam launch, right? Yeah, makes sense. All right, so after seeing all of these, right, this is kind of the scale, the scope that we're looking at, okay? These do not need to be huge experiences, right? These do not need to be super deep pieces of software. Your main objective is to try and do something novel or unique, okay? Something uniquely XR emphasized, okay? If you do that, you're going to end up just fine. All right. So, any final questions on that topic? You got some time to think, but not a ton of time. Within the first few days, you'll want to have talked with your team members, then come up with at least some direction to move in. Okay. So hopefully you can find some consensus pretty quickly. We have had teams that have pivoted after the first or even second week. But this is not a super long project, okay? You've only got about five weeks or so. And so you don't want to burn too many of those figuring out what direction to take your project, okay? All right, so what I'd like to do, we're about halfway through. What I'd like to do is I'd like to take a 5-minute break, okay? You can use the restroom if you want to. I'll put some music on. And then I want to come back And now that we're beginning and thinking about P3, I want to talk a little bit more about that topic of business models, okay? And this is a topic that you can really take anywhere. Understanding why big organizations, why big companies do the things they do, is really important because you are probably going to be a part of some of those eventually, okay? If not a company, then a research laboratory, which can work in similar ways. We're going to talk about XR and business when we come back in 5 minutes. See you then.
Yeah, education, but also like invasive species. Like I think that's like you're like you're yeah. Totally. So the idea would be like a interface used to control a car. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. So you've seen these two before, right? Dreamgate VR. I think I showed them to you a long while back. This was a team that worked exceptionally hard, right, to bring their unique shared space multiplayer VR experience to life. Fantastic product. But the product wasn't the problem. Their business model was the problem, okay? They charged, I think, $10, okay? $10 per person, and you played for about 10 minutes. You could only have 4 players, okay, at any given time. So my question for you is, how much money could they make per hour? You got 4 people. You got them for 10 minutes. They're paying $10 each, so $40 in 10 minutes, okay? Multiply that by 6. Yeah, what is that? 24, 240. Yeah. $240 an hour, okay? That's what they can do, and that sounds pretty good, right? But what if Briarwood Mall charges them $300 per hour? Oh, it's not going to work so well, okay? So business is really, really important, and it's something that is, I think, very easy for us to brush aside, okay? I do it all the time. You want to just get in there and make something, but you want to think about how that thing will help other people, and also how much, okay? So back in the day, anyone heard of this company, Capcom? Very well-known game publisher, okay? They make some famous series, the Mega Man series, right? They make Resident Evil. They make a ton, Monster Hunter, a ton of different series. Has anyone ever heard of this company, Konami? Okay. Another big, impressive kind of legacy Japanese video game developer and publisher. They're famous for the Metal Gear series, right? They're famous for a lot of things. How big do you think these companies are? If you wanted to purchase them with your change in your back pocket, how much would you need? Hostile takeover. Not as much as you'd think, okay? Capcom, $7.5 billion. Konami, $6.25 billion. These are the market caps as of 2022. This is if you wanted to buy every outstanding share of the company that exists and take 100% control, that's how much you'd have to pay to do it, okay? Now, that sounds like a lot, right? Oh, it's $7 billion. Do you have $7 billion lying around, okay, under the couch? But that's nothing, okay? Nothing at all, okay? Have you ever heard of these companies? A company called Roblox, okay? Right? Do they make games? Do they make XR experiences? Not really. Right? They make a suite of tools. They make a platform that allows other people to make the games, to make the VR apps, okay? And then they just take a tax on top. Has anyone ever played Fortnite or heard of it? Okay? Fortnite, by the Unreal Engine makers themselves, Epic Games, okay? This is a game, but sometimes it doesn't resemble that. Did you know that you can actually make your own games within Fortnite now? It's a platform now. It's become less of a product, and it's become more of a platform, all right? How much do you think these companies are worth? Reminder, Capcom, we had about $7 billion, Konami, $6 billion. For Roblox, right, and Fortnite, for Roblox, we got $27 billion, right? Many times Capcom's size. And yet Roblox does not make any games themselves, not really, okay? They're a platform, not a product, and that means everything in 2024. Okay, Fortnite, right? Epic Games, $32 billion. Not because the game is super fun, but because the game isn't so much a game anymore, as it is a place that you can hang out with all your friends. You can go to concerts. You can build your own games and sell them on top of Fortnite these days, okay? Amazing. $32 billion. People don't want products anymore. They want platforms. Sorry, I said it wrong. People want products, but what investors want, okay, what your stakeholders want, what the people who are going to hand you the money to build your big next team want is a platform, not a product, okay? The times really are changing, okay? A good example. When I was growing up, this is what it looked like to get a big piece of loot, okay? You want to get a cool new ability or a costume or something like that. You're going to complete a difficult challenge within the game, get to the end of a difficult dungeon, and this is what happens right here. Right? You get the cool new thing, and then you can use it to see other things in a different way, okay? Go complete a new dungeon with your new tool, okay? These days, right, loot boxes look a little bit different, all right? You buy them, well, you can earn them, I guess, and this is how it goes.
Hey guys, it's Bro UAC, and welcome to what is going to be the second biggest loot box opening video and the biggest loot box opening video that I paid for. Because I not only paid for 100 loot boxes, but we got 20 loot boxes gifted to us by Jeff Cap himself. He realized, all right, Zach, I see you. All right. You've given me enough, so now I'm here to give you something that you desperately need, which is virtual skins for your waifus, and I could not be any more happier. So it's not even 120, it's 121 because we got a free loot box. So let's get it opening. We're on the PC here because I don't have any of the skins or really any skins at all.
All right, so a box was open, a box that this person paid for. And what do we have here? We have some voice lines. So a couple characters got some new things they can say now. You got a decal. I think you can... What do you do with these? Decals? Overwatch. Does anyone play Overwatch?
It's for the... I think it's for the profile picture. So in the top right, there's the...
Oh.
Bro UAC, and then the...
Wow.
On the left, so you can replace that, I think.
Incredible.
Yeah.
How much would you pay for that?
Nothing.
Okay, you can get a spray paint, which I think allows you to spray a wall or something in the game with a certain image or tag. We could ask Allie. So one of my 494 assistants is worked on Overwatch 2. So we can ask her about it. Anyway, right? So this, if you can believe it or not, is one of the most controversial things in gaming today, and in VR and XR as well. This is referred to as a loot crate or a loot box, okay? And they come in many different forms, okay? Overwatch styling up here, a little bit more anime, a bit more cartoony. Down here, electronic arts themed around Star Wars, right? A little bit more metallic, a little bit more futuristic and real. But they all kind of, they function in the same way. You purchase the game so you can start playing the base game, and then you purchase more things. You purchase these loot boxes. You might get what you wanted, you might not, okay? Wait a second, is that gambling? I don't know, it kind of feels like it, maybe, but maybe not. And the idea here is that a company these days wants to make money while you play the game and not just before you play it, okay? And this happens in VR quite a bit too, okay? So blah, 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 blah. This is very, very controversial thing, okay? EA, my beloved EA, got in trouble for this, okay? Why did you make the loot box so expensive? Why did you make Darth Vader so rare? It's because we wanted you to feel a sense of pride and accomplishment when you got him, okay? How much? Negative 674,000 negative upvotes, okay, downvotes on this post, the most downvoted post in Reddit history. Well done, EA. All right. The bigger question for us isn't necessarily, are loot boxes a good thing, a bad thing? The most important thing is, why are they here? Okay, why is everyone trying to do loot boxes? Why, if you go play a typical VR title these days, you'll find an in-game store. Okay, what's the store doing here? I thought I just bought the game. Okay, and there's a store, you want me to pay more? Why is it here, and why now? I want to play out a very quick seed in your head, okay? Let's see if you can figure it out before we explain it. Okay, on the left here, I'm going to have a certain kind of game, and on the right, I'm going to have a different kind of game. On the left, we have games with loot boxes, microtransactions, lots of ways to be nickel and dimed, okay? It sounds like I'm very negative on the topic. I kind of am a little bit, but not very negative, just a little bit. Over here, we have games that are more the traditional premium model. You purchase the software, and it's yours. That's it. There's no more, nickel and diming going on, okay? On the left, we have Overwatch by Activision Blizzard, okay? We have Shadow of War by Warner Brothers, okay? And Electronic Arts Battlefront 2. On the right, without many loot boxes, this might have changed, I don't remember, Microsoft's Sea of Thieves, Sony's Horizon Zero Dawn, and Nintendo's Super Mario Odyssey, okay? Why does the software on the right have the traditional premium, arguably consumer, more friendly model, and the ones on the left are a little bit more nickel and dimey? You buy the game, and then you have to keep buying stuff while you play it. It's also very common for mobile games as well to do that kind of thing. What's the difference between these companies? I just want you to think about it for a moment. There are other interesting questions to ask ourselves. What is this? Anyone know?
Steam. It's a platform.
Yep, Steam, right? Steam. It is the logo of Steam, the #1 kind of PC game digital platform distributor, okay? But, a lot of you probably knew that, okay? But do you know what this is? Origin. What is Origin?
That's EA's platform.
Electronic Arts' rival to Steam. EA wants to distribute games now. And the question for us is, why did EA create Origin? Because EA was making bank on Steam, okay? They had their games on Steam. They're doing very well. But they decided to remove them all from Steam, and they made a rival instead. Why did they do this? What was the point? So there are a lot of interesting questions, okay? Big organizations do a lot of funky stuff these days, and it really helps if you have a few tools on your tool belt, okay, to understand why these companies are doing the things that they do. Why did loot boxes appear? Why did EA choose to create that Steam rival Origin? Why is GameStop basically doomed? Have any of you been in a GameStop? Okay. Lately? Like recently? Okay. Yeah, I remember if you wanted to get anything when I was growing up, you had to go to GameStop or a Best Buy, something like that. These days, it is quite sad. If you go into a Best Buy shop, a GameStop shop, you will find many things, and actually not that many games, it turns out. I want to introduce to you two very simple tools to help you understand why businesses do the things that they do in 2024, okay? Ecosystem map and value chain. They're not very complicated, but they're extremely interesting to think about, okay? This comes from one of my favorite professors here, Dr. Aaron Crum. He's in the Center for Entrepreneurship. We have a wonderful suite of entrepreneurship courses. If you ever need some extra credits before you graduate, okay, general credits. I don't think these are flex tech, Look at some of Professor Crumb's courses. Does a wonderful job. Ecosystem maps. Have any of you ever seen this? And when you see this, do you get certain feelings welling up inside of you when you do? Yes?
I can feel the money draining out of my wallet.
You can feel the money draining out of your wallet. What? That doesn't make any sense. What? Hey, look at this. An incredible device. Do you realize what it does? It takes digital data, it transcribes it into the physical world, okay? It's got a touch screen, it's got a Wi-Fi card, it's got a printer, a scanner. It's incredible, and it's only $99. Incredible. What a deal. Absolutely amazing. Right? How could they sell it for so cheap? It must be the goodness of their hearts. Right? What's the issue here?
Printer ink is the most expensive liquid on the planet.
That's right. Okay. Absolutely. Printer ink, because these things won't work just by themselves. You have to purchase ink. $34 for a cartridge that's not going to last you that long, okay? In a couple months, if you're using this thing at all, you're going to have to buy another. Because you know what ink has? This just wonderful feature. It dries out. If you don't use it, it dries out, okay? Now, God help you if you need color, okay? Oh my goodness, $70. That's almost as expensive as the hardware. Are you kidding me? It's ridiculous, okay? And it's probably going to break a few times too. My printer, it's a disaster at home. Do you know how much this ink costs to manufacture? You know, a typical margin for a lot of retail companies, right, might be as low as, 10%, 20%. Costco famously has a margin of like 2 or 3% for their products, okay? They're not making all that much when they sell something to you. Costco makes its money off your memberships. That's free coin for them. How much does it cost to make this ink? Any ideas?
Probably less than $4.
Less than $4 of this package? Let me give you a hint. The packaging is more expensive. Oh. It costs like 2 or 3 cents, okay, for the actual ink inside of these little cartridges, okay? Mass produce it, it's cheap, not that fancy, okay? And yet these margins are absolutely insane, all right? So here we don't just have one product, you understand? We actually have several, okay? And that is what we call an ecosystem, and here's the map we draw when we want to figure out an ecosystem, okay? Understand what makes it go. So at the core of our ecosystem map, right, you basically just have a product. You draw it in. It's the Epson Workforce printer, okay? Around this product, we draw all the ways that we trade value, usually money, with that product or with that company, okay? The obvious one right away is the hardware. You pay $99, okay? That's not enough to cover the actual manufacturing cost of that device. That is a very kind of impressive device when you actually think about it. It has to be very precise. It has to do a lot of things. It needs updates. It's got a bunch of functionality built in. It's impressive, really. But that ink, oh my goodness, that ink, okay? That ink is going to be $30 to $60, right? Every quarter, probably. And that is like clockwork, okay? If you use the printer for anything, you have to keep buying these. Because they're going to dry out, okay? And this is what makes it all worthwhile, okay? What happens if we cut one of these things away? If we cut the hardware away, well, we got no point for any of this. We can't use any of it. If we cut the ink away, okay, what happens to the company if they can't get their $30 to $60 every few months from you and every one of their customers? What happens?
It won't last.
Yeah, they're going bankrupt, okay? They're going down. right, they would have to do what?
Increase the price of
the hardware price would have to go way, way up. So one way to think about an ecosystem is kind of a way of shouldering the burden of a related product line across many different products instead of just one, okay? And we're going to talk about ways that has gone really well and been a really great boon for customers, and we're going to talk about ways that has gone pretty badly, okay? Printer is one of the uglier ones, okay? Have you ever seen a headline like this? This is a fairly common headline if you go searching for them, okay? HP is once again breaking printers with third-party ink cartridges, okay? This is kind of weirdly worded. What they're saying is if HP detects that you're using an unlicensed ink cartridge, they will brick your entire machine, okay? Paperweight, punish you, okay? Companies in this business will fight tooth and nail. Okay, they'll spend obscene resources. They'll pack really crazy technology into the printer just to prevent you from using cheap third-party ink. Okay, which you can get for just cents on the dollar. Okay, because if they fail, or if they make it too easy to use third-party ink, they don't have to stop you. They just have to make it hard enough so most people won't do it. Then this ecosystem falls apart, okay? As it is, it can survive, all right? Let's talk more about ecosystems. Here's an XR ecosystem. Dreamgate, I already told you about it, okay? This is a really great piece of software. Craig is a genius. He works super hard as well, and he's just a really great guy, right? You remember this, right? You've got this kind of capture the flag, kind of defense-style game. You've got 3 or 4 people in the same space. Usually that's really risky for VR, but you see each other in the game, and so you don't run into each other. It's fantastic, okay? Anyway, super cool stuff, right? They took this to Briarwood Mall. They set up, and they would charge about $10 for a play session, which would last about 10 minutes, okay? That was the most obvious part of their business model. You could do some math here, right? One installation of Dreamgate VR could make about $240 per hour. Actually, a bit less than that, because between every 10-minute session, you have to take some time to recharge and get people into the headsets and all that stuff. So it's actually less than this. But it turns out this isn't really enough. Craig goes to investors and points out this kind of business model, he's not getting anywhere, all right? What does he have to do? Well, it turns out you can scale this. How would you scale this if you want to make more money per hour? You can't fit any more people in, 4-player max, right? But what could you do?
maybe you can open multiple shops.
Yeah, let's have another Dreamgate installation at a mall, not Briarwood Mall, but maybe a mall in Detroit, right? Or maybe in Grand Rapids, okay? Or East Lansing, right? Lots of college kids over there. And that is a way you could do it. But that was a problem because it took a long time to set everything up, right? It was a big pain, right? Craig didn't have the time to do this himself. So what did he want to do, right? Craig, when the pandemic hit, was finishing up what he called the Dreamgate platform. This basically allowed other people to purchase the hardware from him, license the software from him, okay? So if you are in Brazil and you want to set up your own Dreamgate installation at your local mall, you can do it. Craig is going to send you everything you need to do that. And you know what Craig is going to take? Just an eensy-wincy tax, okay? He's going to take, what, 15, 20% of your revenue, okay? Maybe you can make that work. Maybe you can't make that work. If not enough people can make it work, Craig has to lower that take. Otherwise, it's not going to take off, all right? So that was an example of his attempt to go from having a product to a platform, something that scales, something that investors would hand him many millions of dollars to see to fruition, okay? Another interesting thing here, we're talking about money so much, but it's not always money, okay? Value is a more generic term, okay? Implicit advertising. This isn't any normal product. You know, you watch that video, right? You look super funny when you're playing the game. It's super fun. It's extremely high quality. The best experience I've ever had in VR, and it's gone. Okay? I'm salty about it. Okay? I'm going to have to find Craig and tell him to get this thing going again. But there was implicit advertising because, right, when you have this experience, it's so fun, right? It's multiplayer. So what are you going to do? You're going to bring back your friends and family, okay? Hey, have you heard of this thing in the mall? Hey, yeah, come play it with me, right? When you are running around like a goofball, you're probably getting filmed by any friends who might be there. You're getting posted to Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and that's going to drive some interest as well, okay? So this was Craig's ecosystem. It was almost good enough, I think, but they ran out of time. Pandemic crushed them. Anyway, we'll see if they make a comeback. Anyone have any of these? How many Apple users we got? Okay. How many Android users we got? Android. Okay. I switch between them because I want to know both ecosystems for my courses. I like the Android software better, but I like the Apple hardware better. So anyway, these are the most impressive ecosystems on the planet currently. Okay? And Apple is the king, the queen of ecosystems. Okay? And I want you to think about how. All right? What we're going to do, I'm going to start you off. Okay? Here's the ecosystem map you're going to start off with. I'm going to give you the hardware. Now, when I made this slide, the hardware for the latest iPhone, whatever, it's about $820. Okay? That's a lot. That could be the entire thing right there, and you'd be happy. But Apple's not happy, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to take the next 90 seconds, and with the people near you, and yes, you all do have people kind of near you. You can move around. You got movable chairs. I want you to take 90 seconds, think of all the ways that once you've got an iPhone, you can trade a value with Apple, okay? Or if you're an Android user, Google or Huawei or HTC or whatever, okay? 90 seconds, then I want to hear what you've come up with. All the ways to trade value with that company, okay? Smartphones, go. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what you come in with. What do you got? What do you got? Yes?
The App Store if you're buying something.
The App Store, if you're buying something. If you buy an application for $1, okay, who gets what? How much money does Apple make? 30%. 30% of every transaction, okay? That's a higher tax than a lot of nation states. Yes?
This applied it applied more back when iPhone 8 was actually the most recent phone, but screens, like the back end screens were much more brutal, I feel, and you could use
Oh.
you had to go to an Apple store. It's got no
Oh.
replacement with it.
Yeah.
You know, they had to pay like $100 more probably.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. It'd be a shame if more of our customers broke their screens when they made a mistake and they had to come to us more often to get it replaced, Or if the customer's clumsy, what could they purchase? Apple Care, right? Our very own insurance policy for our own devices, okay? Ooh, all right. I'm getting excited about all this money-making opportunity, right? Okay, what else we got? Accessories, right? Okay, right. So you can, you can purchase cases, phone cases. You can purchase officially licensed, like, I don't know, what do people purchase? Pens and pencils, okay, for your device. Yes.
For a little while there was the dongles, because they got rid of the headphone jack.
Dongles.
So if you lost one of those, you had to go buy a new one.
Yep. We're about to force everyone to go get some new AirPods. How about that? Right? Okay. What else?
Other devices, Apple family.
You know what goes really, really good with that new iPhone? How about a Mac? How about an Apple Watch? Okay. So some family members of mine, bless their souls, I was an Android user at the time, and they purchased me an Apple Watch, for the holidays. I thought, wow, this is really great, very thoughtful of you. And I returned that thing the next day, right? Why? You know what you can do with your Apple Watch if you've got an Android device? Nothing.
The time.
Yeah, pretty much. You got the time. There you go. It's a watch, right? What else? We're still missing some stuff. Apple Music? Okay, absolutely. Apple Arcade? I think there's like an Apple News now.
You can trade in your old phone to a new one.
You can trade in your old device, right? Okay. What if you dreamed of supporting Apple by making software for their device and app store? How much would you pay to be able to help Apple out? How much would you pay for the privilege of being able to make your own software for Apple devices? About $100 per year, okay? Good job. You got a lot of them. You also missed a couple, okay? What comes with every new Apple product you buy? How does someone know you're a Mac, you're not a PC? They're going to see this on your car. They're going to see this on your fridge. Stickers, right? You purchase that iPhone, and right in the back of the box, what do you find? Some Apple stickers, okay? Well, that's really cute, right? It's very nice of them, very kind, right? Out of the goodness of their hearts, right? Probably not, okay? It's advertising, more implicit advertising. You've joined the Apple family now, and you cannot leave, okay? All right. Good job. This is one of the most impressive ecosystems in human history, and this is what propelled Apple to be one of humanity's largest companies. In fact, I believe they were they the first trillion-dollar company? No, not trillion. Were they? Yeah, they were the first trillion-dollar company. My goodness, it shouldn't be possible. Okay, hardware, right? Make a lot of money from that. iCloud, only $1 a month. You don't want to lose that picture of grandma, do you? You can't lose that. Okay, hey, $1 a month will give you 50 gigabytes. That's not too bad, right? We'll back up your photos for you. App Store. Apple, at least during this report that I read, made something like $21 billion of revenue from App Store taxes, okay? Apple Music, $10 a month, not too bad. 11 million users, that's a big chunk of change. Apple stickers, that implicit advertising, make you feel like you're in that Apple fandom, okay? You're in the family now. Apple Developer Program, if you want to be able to distribute your application, your software on Apple devices, you got to pay $99 annually. Not sure if you knew that. Once you've got an Apple phone, goes really well with an Apple Watch, which has its own app store, by the way, and its own hardware, and its own upgrades. And that goes really well with a Mac, okay, which has its own hardware. The Mac also has its own app store, okay, and other ecosystems as well, right? Incredible, right? Absolutely mad. And you can get a lot of information on this topic via their quarterly reports. Once you get big enough that you are able to take on tons of money and really get huge, this is like one of the only mitigating factors on you. You have to constantly be divulging all your secrets. Not all of them, but anyway. So I like to be antagonistic during this lecture, right? It might sound like I'm horrified by this kind of thing. And ecosystems can be abusive, right? I remember when I first switched from iOS to Android, it was because I went to purchase a replacement power cable. And I was able, I think at Best Buy it was like $40. And online I found Android cables for like $4. Okay, at that point I could feel the sting. The ecosystem was squeezing me. Okay, I was paying a lot more than I normally would if I could just buy the other cables if I was an Android user. However, there are a lot of people who swear by this ecosystem and who really enjoy it, right? One of the common statements about Apple products is that they just work. And not in the Bethesda, they just work kind of way. They actually work, and they work extremely well with each other, okay? If you have someone who maybe they want just a smoother experience, or you're very careful, you want to be very careful about safety, not getting hacked, like Apple would be a decent choice for its ecosystem, you know, for my grandparents or something like that, or if you just want a simpler time. So they're not always abusive, but they have the possibility to be. And I hope that from now on, you'll think about and kind of get a feel, you'll develop a sense for when you're entering into an ecosystem, okay? Or when it's having an impact on you. It really is amazing. Apple became the first trillion-dollar company due to the strength of the iPhone ecosystem. iPhone hardware not selling as well? That's okay, because guess what? We made it up in Apple Music and iCloud and App Store, okay? And if the iPhone is down, maybe Macintosh is up. Maybe the iWatch is going to save us, or the Apple Watch, okay? Oh, that's why they didn't call it iWatch. iWatch sounds creepy, like I'm watching. That makes a lot of sense. Anyway, right? It's amazing in part because Apple suffered the greatest of humiliations. I think in like the 80s or 90s, they were nearly bankrupt, okay? You know, Apple very nearly died. They had to take a bailout, some bailout money. Do you know who they took it from? Microsoft. And Bill Gates. Oh, what a day, right? Bill thinks the world's a better place. Steve Jobs talking to Bill Gates by cell phone last week about saving Apple. Yeah, Apple was in dire straits, okay? It might seem a bit strange for their chief arch rival, Microsoft, to save them. Can you think about why they might? Not just out of the goodness of their hearts. Microsoft was not really about that during the 80s and 90s, especially.
To prevent being a monopoly?
Yes. To ward off antitrust concerns. During this era, Microsoft was under a lot of pressure. They were under a lot of scrutiny from federal regulators over things such as bundling Internet Explorer with their operating system Windows, okay? They were also just dominant in the marketplace, pretty much everywhere. And it's a really, really bad look if you are I'm not a monopoly. No, don't worry about me. I'm not a monopoly. Oh, my biggest rival's dead now. That's a really bad look with very bad timing. So Microsoft stepped in and provided a bunch of loans. They also provided, I think, Internet Explorer and a bunch of, and the Microsoft Office came to Apple devices, which helped out a lot. Anyway, I want to talk to you about an ecosystem related to video games, or XR, okay? So this is StarCraft, made by Blizzard Entertainment in 1998. Here's their ecosystem. It's a game disc. You pay $50 to $60, okay? And you get the game. Okay, there's some implicit advertising because this game has incredible multiplayer and it's known for that. And so what happens if all your friends are playing StarCraft? What does that make you want to do? Let's go buy StarCraft, right? That's how that ecosystem works. Now, a few months later, maybe, 8 months later, 10 months later, maybe an expansion pack comes out. And if you enjoyed the base game, you might drop another 20, 30 for a nice big chunk of content on top of that. Okay? But that's it. That's all. The entire ecosystem. It's kind of nice, actually, in some ways, but not so nice in some other ways. Can any of you think about when this might be a problem if you're a game studio?
The expansion pack always needs you to have the base game. So if you want to continue adding expansions, you need to continue to draw people to your game in some other way.
Yep. So expansions are a little bit difficult to manage for sure. How long does it take to make a game typically? Do any of you know that? In this era, it usually took about 2 to 3 years, and that's still kind of common, though it's getting longer and longer. What happens if this game fails? It might even be a great game, but the timing was bad. Another game came out and it kind of scooped your audience, okay? Or maybe a disaster hit, and so you lost those critical first few weeks of launch. What happens if this fails?
No money for next game.
No money for the next 2 or 3 years. Oh God. I mean, not even your older products that are still on the market are going to make you much money. After all, they've already been purchased. There are no microtransactions, no loot boxes to kind of carry you to the next launch. Okay? Let's talk about the same company and a similar multiplayer-focused product in 2016. Okay, we've gone from 1998's StarCraft to 2016's Overwatch, both by Blizzard. Despite all the inflation, the initial price of the game goes down. Unbelievable, right? There must be some catch. Well, how else can you make money or trade value if you made Overwatch? Any ideas? Well, you've got Battle.net, because you can't just launch Overwatch, can you? You don't just double-click the icon. You always see this Battle.net software. It's a game launcher first, okay? Any of you see that? Battle.net? And what happens when you launch Battle.net? You see Overwatch right there, and you can play the game from there, but you also see some other things, right? What do you see?
Ads for other games.
You see other games, right? Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. I didn't know Blizzard made other games. I got some extra money. I guess I'm going to buy their games instead of going to GameStop, instead of going to Best Buy, right? I liked Overwatch, so I'm going to buy, Diablo 3. Oh, yeah, right? StarCraft 2, right? Oh my gosh, a very cool technique. What if you enjoyed EECS 440 and, you're just kind of looking at the course website. Oh, wait, what's that? What's that right there? Game Engine Architect. I never knew about this one. Wow. I don't even need to look at the course guide now. I can just go take the... Oh, wait, what's that? Oh, my gosh, I heard this one's tough. Yeah. Oh, but super cool. Big crowds. Wow. Oh. So ecosystems can be anywhere, by the way. Okay. But that's not all for Blizzard and Overwatch, okay? Because when you're not playing this game, you can still be interacting with it. You can be developing your understanding and relationship with the characters, with the story, with the universe. They've got comic books for Overwatch. They've got movies and trailers, okay? Going to get together with some friends and watch the latest character reveal trailer. Hell yeah. Millions of views on YouTube. Actually, can we test that? How many views did it have? Can we even find the initial trailer for Overwatch from 2016? 9 years ago. Oh, no big deal. Just 17 million views. Not too bad, huh? Wow. 5 million views, 6 million. Wow. Impressive. Okay. Whew. Social media integration. They've got most games these days have social media accounts. If you clip some really impressive footage, maybe they'll retweet you. Maybe they will, show you off. You'll get some karma, some internet points, right? They've got timed events. Did you know the Olympics is coming up? And for like a couple weeks only, we're going to have some special costumes that you can purchase or win if you play the game a bunch during the Olympics instead of watching the Olympics. And, of course, all those loot crates. Hey, it's only $2, right? What's $2? You probably spent that for lunch, right? And that is the way that many modern games, especially games from third parties, do their ecosystems, okay? Activision Blizzard has a ton of different ways to make money. If one thing's not working, they can pull the other lever, and that will probably keep them afloat while they fix the first one, okay? Back here, life was very simple. In my opinion, very consumer-friendly. You buy the game. If you enjoy it later, you buy a nice expansion pack, but that's it. Not a whole lot of nickel and diming. You don't have to worry. However, this was brutal from a business perspective, okay? If you were a game studio and you got unlucky, even if your game was fantastic, you put your heart and soul in for 2-3 years, and it just doesn't work out, what are you going to do? At best, you're going to cut 70% of your staff and try and limp into the next low-quality project and try and survive from there, okay? It was brutal. It was a brutal time in the games industry. A ton of very hardworking men and women, everyone losing their jobs pretty often, okay? Uprooted families. It's not good stuff, okay? Overwork. Very tough deadlines, and unfortunately for good reasons. So the games industry in many ways has moved away from this as ecosystems have gotten richer. In some ways, the user experience has gotten poorer, but I will tell you, the situation is generally much more stable than it was in the 80s and 90s, okay? The industry in some ways is much healthier. It is certainly much more diverse, and we've got a lot of big companies now, a lot of medium and a lot of indies doing well, but that has come at a cost, okay? How many of you play mobile games? Mobile games? Something I want you to keep in mind. I don't tend to enjoy mobile games personally because they're always nickel and diming me, timers, right? Hey, just 60 cents and you can get the thing and do the spin and whatever. But video games have always been, and XR especially, even more so with XR, have always been an extremely expensive hobby, okay? And yet, the era of mobile games has given millions upon millions of people the ability to engage. And if they don't have money, they can spend a little bit of their time. If they don't want to spend their time, right, they can play a little bit before the timers start to really show up and impede things, okay? So as much as one might want to complain about a lot of this happening, don't forget the upsides, because they do exist, okay? Anyway, ecosystems really matter, and they're always morphing, okay? I want to speed this up a little bit. When I showed this to you earlier, okay, on the left, we have lots of loot boxes in these games. You know why? Because these companies don't have an ecosystem anywhere else. If Electronic Arts wants to have a rich ecosystem with tens of different ways to make money with you or trade value, more user-friendly term, then they have to put all that into the game itself. The ecosystem has to be the game. But if Nintendo wants to have an ecosystem, do they need to put it into Mario Odyssey, or can they go with a more traditional premium model? What is Nintendo's ecosystem? It's not in the game. It's in the console. This is Disney, okay? This is the Disney park, all right? Space Mountain is an incredible ride. Super expensive to make, but it costs the same amount as the Teacup ride. Space Mountain does not make any money for Disney, okay? It's an expensive ride to maintain. You know what does make the ride for Disney return? The gift shops, okay? You already knew that. Space Mountain's job is not to make money, it's to get people into the park, into the ecosystem. You can buy lots of cheap Disney merchandise if you're outside the park, but once you're in, they've got you, and they can make money through other means. Okay, the turkey leg, the gift shop, all that. Super Mario Odyssey is a $60 game. It is wonderful. It was made over the course of many years, okay, at least 5 years probably, with some of Japan's best talent, okay? It is the exact same price as Mario Golf Super Rush, which was made in probably about a year and a half tops, and was made by a third-party studio, Camelot, which you've probably never heard of, on the cheap. Okay? Same price. All right? Same price. Okay? Super Mario Odyssey is not about selling copies. Mario's goal is to sell consoles. Because once you've bought a Nintendo Switch, then you're probably going to buy these cheaper games where the margins are much better. You're going to buy third-party games. If you buy Call of Duty on the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo gets 30%. Let's go. But if no one owns a Switch, then Nintendo can't get any of that. And no one will make games for their console. The whole ecosystem collapses. Mario is about building the console ecosystem for Nintendo. Okay? That ecosystem includes games, but it also includes plushies. It includes Hollywood films, theme parks, okay? Nintendo World just opened up at Universal, okay? Ecosystems have been everywhere, not just games or XR or theme parks. What about film? Has anyone seen a film called Spaceballs? Fantastic film, okay? For context, the heroes are about to meet this character, Yogurt, and he's about to explain how the film business works. It's a bit quiet, this clip, so pay attention, okay?
You're hiding me. Heard of you. Who hasn't heard of Yogurt?
Yogurt the wise. Yogurt the all-powerful.
Yogurt the magnificent. Please, don't make a fuss. I'm just plain Yogurt. But you're the one. Yes, I am the keeper of a greater magic. A power known throughout the universe as the Force? No, the Schwartz. Schwartz. Yes, the Schwartz. But Yogurt, what is this place? What is it that you do here? Merchandising. Merchandising? What's that? Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Open up this door. Come, walk this way. Take a look. We put the picture's name on everything. Merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made. Spaceballs the t-shirt. Spaceballs the coloring book. Spaceballs the lunchbox. Spaceballs the breakfast cereal. Spaceballs the flamethrower. Kids love this.
All right. Ecosystems are everywhere. They are extremely powerful. And the most important thing for you, regardless of whether you keep going and do XR stuff, regardless of whether you go to a company or even a graduate school, okay? Notice ecosystems when you encounter them and understand the effect that they can have on you, okay? They can be abused, but they can also be extremely cohesive and very pleasant, okay? Just make sure you notice them and, if you don't like them, get out of it, okay? And, just be cognizant of the ones that you might already be in, okay? Because they really are everywhere, right? This t-shirt is made of very cheap material, but it cost me a lot of money, okay? And that's all you really need to know. Okay, next time, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the topic of value chains, which is another really interesting business tool to help you understand kind of why certain companies do the things they do, but also why certain companies die. Because when companies die, when big orgs die, value chains and getting kicked out of them, failing to understand your place in the value chain is often why, okay? All right, we'll see you next time, everyone. Office hours start now, okay? I'll be here for an hour. Take care. All right, bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for watching online. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.